You need the world to ask less of you today, not because you are weak, not because you do not love the people who need you, or care about the work that requires you, or value the life that depends on your showing up. You need the world to ask less, because the soul has been giving for a long time, and the giving has outpaced the receiving, and Saturday is the first morning of the week that belongs to a different rhythm. The soul drain is specific. It is not the same as tired. Tired is what the body feels after physical exertion. Tired gets fixed by sleep. The soul drain is something quieter and deeper. The slow, invisible depletion that happens when you have been present to people and demands and noise and difficulty for 5 days straight without the space that the soul requires to restore what the present spent. You gave attention. You gave patience. You gave the quality of engagement that genuine care requires. And the soul is the reservoir that all of that drew from. And on Saturday morning, the reservoir is lower than it should be. The good news, the specific, honest, this applies to you good news, is that the Saturday morning is exactly the place the soul was designed to come for what the week depleted. His word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 3, that he restores my soul, not manages, not sustains, restores. The shepherd brings the depleted soul to the place where the restoring happens and does the work of restoring it. Not the soul pulling itself back to adequate, the shepherd restoring it to what it was before the draining began. That restoration is available this morning. Before the Saturday has asked for anything, before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, Lord, restore my soul. I bring you the drained version. I trust you with the restoring. Write it as the honest arrival, the drained soul presenting itself to the one who restores, like this video as an act of choosing the restoration before the Saturday has claimed the morning. Subscribe to this channel so we can begin every Saturday together at the place the soul was designed to come for what the week depleted. Share this prayer with someone whose soul feels drained this morning. Now let us bring the drained soul to the restorer. Lord my God and my Father, I come before you on this Saturday morning with the honest condition of the soul that has been giving all week, not giving reluctantly. Genuinely, the giving was real and the people and the situations it was given to were worth the giving. I am not here to regret the investment. I am here because the investment produced this condition. The reservoir is lower than it started. The soul that arrived at Monday full is arriving at Saturday morning significantly less full. And the less full soul needs the Saturday morning to be something different from what the week has been. Take a breath here. Not a productive breath, not the breath before the next required thing, the breath of the person who has stopped briefly before the Saturday has made its claims, the breath of the someone who came here first, before the to-do list and the household and the phone and the pleasant weekend activities that will eventually arrive to fill what is currently open. This breath, this moment, this is the Saturday's most available space. I am bringing the soul in this condition because this is the condition the restoring was designed for, not the soul that has rallied back to adequacy before presenting itself. The drained soul, honestly present. Before the Saturday has asked for more, your word declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31, that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Renew, not maintain, not sustain at the lower level. Renew. To the soaring capacity. The soaring is not the Saturday's experience. The soaring comes after the restoring. But the restoring begins today, in this prayer, in this morning. And the Saturday that receives the beginning of the restoring is the Saturday that moves toward the soaring. Not dramatically, the way a tide turns, quietly, before you can feel the full movement. The renewing has begun, available to the person who hopes in the Lord. The hoping is available to the drained soul. It is small this morning, quieter than it was Monday, but present, and the small hope is sufficient for the renewing to begin. Father, I want to name what specifically drains the soul so the restoration can be specific. The people drain, not bad people. The people who need something from you. The sustained presence that genuine care requires. 5 days of being present to the needs of others, really present, not managed, distance present, but actually there present, draws from the soul in a way that the body's energy does not fully account for. The soul was in every genuine interaction this week, and the genuine interactions cost something that Tuesday night's sleep did not fully restore. The noise drain, the constant input of a world that never stops producing things to respond to. The news that arrives before you are ready for it. The notifications that interrupt the interior before the interior has had a chance to settle. The ambient noise of the digital world that runs in the background of every waking hour. The soul absorbs all of it, whether or not the mind is consciously processing it. And the absorbed noise accumulates. The decision drain, every choice the week required. The small ones that seem costless, but are not. The large ones that require genuine discernment. The decisions deferred that are still open and that the soul is quietly carrying. Each decision drew from the same reservoir. Each unanswered question sits in the soul as low-grade weight. The decision drain is real and underestimated, and the witnessing drain, the specific cost of being present to suffering that is not your own but that the soul receives because the soul is open and the suffering is real. The colleague who is struggling, the family member who is in pain, the news story that entered the interior and stayed. The soul that is genuinely present to the world is a soul that absorbs what the world produces. And what the world produces this week was not light. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 62, verse 1, that truly my soul finds rest in God alone. In God alone. Not in the Saturday's activities, not in the recovery that sufficient rest provides, in God alone. The specific rest that the soul requires is available in the specific presence of the specific God. Right here, right now. Before the Saturday has offered its alternatives. And here is what in God alone means in practice on a Saturday morning. It means the restoring does not wait for the perfect Saturday conditions. It does not wait for the household to be quiet, or the responsibilities to be handled, or the mind to arrive at the right spiritual state. In God alone means the restoring is available in the actual Saturday morning condition. With the people drain, and the noise drain, and the decision weight and the witnessing cost still present. Into that, the rest, in God alone, now. Lord, restore my soul. I bring you the drained version. I trust you with the restoring. Lord, I want to receive something about what restoration looks like for the soul that the week drained. It looks like silence that is filled rather than empty. The Saturday morning quiet that is not the absence of the week's noise, but the presence of something the noise was preventing. The stillness where something truer than the week's demands can be heard. The interior space where the soul can receive rather than only produce. It looks like being known rather than needed. The week required the soul to be useful, to produce, to respond, to meet the demands of the people and the work and the obligations. Being known is different from being needed. It is the presence of the one who sees the soul as it actually is, not as it performs, not as it functions, but as it is. And being known by the one who knows everything about it and finds it worth restoring rather than replacing is a specific kind of receiving the drained soul requires. The soul that has been performing all week, giving the managed version of itself to the world's demands, arrives at the Saturday morning prayer and can stop performing. Right here, The managed version is not what this prayer receives. The actual version, drained, present, honest, that version is welcome. That version is what the restoring was designed for. Something about being known that matters here. The weak required performance, required the managed version, required the presentation of adequacy to the people and the work and the world. Being known is the opposite. It is the presenting of the actual interior to the one who receives it without requiring the management. The drained soul, honestly presented, is received, not corrected, not instructed on how to be less drained. Received, as it is. And the receiving produces something in the soul that the performance never does. Rest. The rest of the person who stopped performing and was received anyway. It looks like wonder, the small, quiet capacity to be surprised by what is real. The Saturday morning light through the window, the specific quality of a June morning, the sound of the birds that the week's noise was drowning out. The ordinary grace that the drained soul was moving past all week because the pace was too fast and the interior too occupied for the small grace to register. Wonder is the soul's natural response to reality when the soul has enough space to receive what is actually there. And the Saturday morning is the space where the wonder is available again. Your word declares in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22 through 23, that because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. New every morning. This Saturday morning. New compassions, not the recycled provision of a God who is also depleted. New, specific to this morning, to this soul. To this particular week's particular draining, the compassions are new today. Receive them, specifically. The soul that was drained by the people receives the compassion that refills the capacity for people. The soul that was drained by the noise receives the compassion that restores the interior quiet. The soul that was drained by the decision weight receives the compassion that lightens what has not yet been decided. Each drain, new compassion, specific. Lord, restore my soul. I bring you the drained version. I trust you with the restoring. Father, I want to ask for something practical for the Saturday that is here. Space. The specific, intentional protection of enough interior space today that the restoring has room to happen. The Saturday that is completely filled from the first hour will not restore what the week depleted. The restoration requires the space that the activity, even pleasant activity, crowds out, not the empty Saturday. The Saturday that has some unhurried hours, some space that does not belong to the to-do list or the social obligation or the productive recovery. Space that belongs to the soul's receiving. What does that space look like? It might look like the slow morning, the second cup of coffee without the phone, the walk that has no destination except the being outside in the June air, the conversation that has nowhere it needs to arrive, the afternoon that is given to whatever the soul finds restoring rather than whatever the weekend's agenda requires. The space is different for each person, but it shares one quality. It is unhurried. And the unhurried is the condition in which the soul restoration happens. And the soul knows what restores it. It has known all week. The thing that was being deferred for when there was more time. The thing the week kept saying would happen on the weekend. That thing, not the productive thing, the restoring thing. The soul already knows what it is. Trust that knowing. And give it some of the Saturday, not all of it. Some, an hour, an afternoon. A specific, unhurried space that belongs to the restoring rather than to what the week still needs from you. That hour is worth more for your next week than the most productive hour of the weekend would be. Because the soul that received the restoring is the soul that shows up fully on Monday. The soul that did not receive it shows up depleted. Your word declares in the book of Mark, chapter 6, verse 31, that Jesus said, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." He said this to the disciples who had just returned from intense ministry, the people who had been giving all week, and the instruction was not more ministry. Come with me to a quiet place, rest. The invitation to leave the demand behind and come to the place where the restoring happens. That invitation is for you this Saturday. Come with the shepherd who restores, to the quiet place the soul needs. Not the dramatic retreat, the unhurried hours of a Saturday that were given to the restoring rather than consumed by the pleasant but not restoring alternatives. And Father, let the space that is protected today be used for the specific receiving the soul requires, not more producing, receiving. The music that feeds rather than fills, the prayer that listens rather than only asks. The scripture that is read slowly enough to be received rather than processed. The nature that is walked in with the eyes open for what is actually there rather than as the backdrop for the thinking, the receiving, the soul's specific nourishment. Today, Lord, restore my soul. I bring you the drained version. I trust you with the restoring. Father, as this prayer closes, I want to name something about the soul that came here this morning. It came, drained, and it came. That is not nothing. The soul that is too depleted to perform the faith managed to show up at the Saturday morning prayer before the Saturday had asked for anything. That specific act, the coming in the drained condition rather than waiting for a better condition, is what the restoration was designed to receive. The shepherd does not wait for the sheep to arrive at the green pasture on their own. He leads them there. The restoration begins in the leading. The coming is the following of the leading, and the following is enough to begin the restoration. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18, that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Close to. The drained soul is not at a distance from the one who restores. The closeness is specific to the depleted condition. The shepherd goes to where the sheep is, not where the sheep should be, where it is. And where it is this Saturday morning is here. With the drained, honest soul, in the prayer that came before the Saturday asked for more, the restoration has begun, not dramatically. The way the dawn comes, quietly, before you can see the full light, it has begun. And the Saturday that receives the person who is already in the restoring is a different Saturday from the Saturday that receives the person who is waiting for the restoring to begin. You are not waiting. You are in it. The shepherd is leading. The green pasture is the interior space this prayer created. The quiet waters are the stillness available in the unhurried hours ahead. The restoring is already underway. Feel that, even the small beginning of it, the slight easing of the pressure that the naming produced, the breath that is slightly fuller than it was when the prayer began. The soul that came drained and has received the beginning of what it came for. It is beginning. That is enough for now. Lord, restore my soul. I bring you the drained version. I trust you with the restoring. That is the declaration this Saturday begins from. The soul was named in its honest condition. The restorer was found before the day had claimed the space. The compassions are new. The green pasture is here. And the Saturday that opens from this prayer is received by the soul that is already in the restoring, rather than the soul that is waiting for the restoring to begin. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. Lord, restore my soul. I bring you the drained version. I trust you with the restoring, and then protect some space today for the restoring to work in. The Saturday was designed for this. Let it be this. Come back tomorrow morning. The Sunday prayer is the preparation for the week that follows, and the soul that was restored on Saturday enters the Sunday prayer from a different place. We will begin the new week together. May the Lord restore specifically what was specifically drained this week. May the people drain receive the new compassion for people. May the noise drain receive the interior quiet the noise was preventing. May the Saturday space be protected and inhabited rather than consumed. And may the soul that arrived drained discover somewhere in this day that the restoration is real, that the shepherd leads to actual green pastures, that the quiet waters are here, that the restoring is already underway. In Jesus' name, amen.